EPA has their self-assessment checklist and a guide for evaluating CMOM programs. So if you click on those, it'll bring up the EPA guidance and documents on that. They're long, they're very detailed, but there may be some good information in there for you to, that you may feel may be appropriate for your program. And then we have a really nice reference site. And one of them, of course, but there's a lot of great references on collection system O&M programs from the Sacramento class from University of California, Sacramento. There's the MOP guides. This one is prevention. This is relatively new. Prevention and control of sewer system overflows. And there's just, while yes, it's repetitive and there's some things that are redundant, there are some other things that may be worthwhile for your collection system.
This one's more.
Yeah, and this is really nice. This is really nice too. Joe, you want to just talk about what that is?
Well, the Water Environment Federation, which is a professional organization, started working with NACWA, another professional organization, and they wanted a short, sweet booklet. This is more that you can take to your public officials and for internal use. It's the core attributes of effectively managed collection systems, and they go through the different components that you should be focusing on as a minimum to give you some guidelines. So, these are pretty wieldy, but that was designed for small communities to be able to start getting into their CMOM programs.
Yeah, and I think this is a nice companion or vice versa with the CMOM booklet.
Yes.
A lot of the core attributes, if you have a good CMOM program, a lot of these core attributes are in a CMOM. So comparing the two, I think you're right. Nice, shorter, well-written documents for the smaller communities.
Did you say where you get that?
I have it on my presentation,
Yeah.
where you can grab this online. It's on the Water Environment Association or Federation website.
Yeah.
I'll give you the link.
But we have, so there's a whole, and it's not exhaustive, but these are some of the better references we think that are there for you for developing good collection system programs.
I guess the whole point is there's a lot of resources out there, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel for taking programs. And there's a lot of stuff on the website that you can take as well.
Right. And before I forget, we're going to jump in to go through the next few slides very quickly. Like I said, I'm going to be doing very detailed training starting probably later in later in the winter through the spring and summer and fall of next year. I hope you attend. I want to mention, hope most of you know, I'm also involved with the code changes to NR 114. It's our operator certification code. And I want to make sure you all know this. As part of that code, it goes to the board for adoption next month on December 10th. We think it's going to go through. There's been a lot of work on this code. It probably will go through the legislative process, and we're expecting it published in the spring. It'll become effective in the spring of 2015. So, what does that mean for the treatment plants that own a treatment plant collection system together? They will have to have a collection system certified operator, at least one. For the satellites, it's voluntary for now. We eventually plan to make one word change. One word change, but eventually I do want to let the satellites know. It's voluntary right now. Eventually we want to have the satellites be a part of that. And having one operator in charge that's certified in collection systems. Now, even though it's voluntary, I hope that most of the collection systems choose to have many of their staff and operators get that certification. It'll be a 50-question exam, and we're hoping to work on it with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. The reason is they have a basic collection system manual. It's in the references. It's $12. It's a little antiquated, but it's excellent. They need to update it. We need a study guide. So we hope to work with them to do that. So I don't want to say much more about that, but I want to let you know that that's coming too.
You said voluntary right now. Do you have any specific time frame that you're going to be, or what you're?
5 years. It calls for a one-word statutory change.
Thank you.
I'd love to say 1 or 2 years, but 5 years. So, if you're planning on retiring, oh, exactly. Okay. CMOM. Right. So this is Joan. Actually, Joan, I bring this up. Joan has coined this term. CMOM is, and especially the O&M piece, it's a find it, fix it program, stealing her thunder. And it really is. There's the investigative piece, find the issues, find the defects, find what's up, know what's going on, and then either fix it, repair it, replace it. Okay? Okay. I'm going to really zip through these. That's all right. People have asked, okay, DNR, what are you expecting? What are your thoughts? What's the intention here? And if you look in the code, and in the code and the references there, you can look it up. All those components are in this document. And for the smaller communities, as a real baseline, one idea, this is just one idea, is for the very small communities, what I've suggested is taking just a 3-ring binder, printing this out from the website. So I took the front page, back page, put the table of contents in, then I put 9 dividers, well 8, sorry, there's 8 components. And then in here is the checklist. I have a note page. Let's go to this one. There's a checklist. And if you check this, if you check this, then you need the supporting documentation for it. Now, that's what I'll be training on. There's a little description under each one of these checklist items. You notice that? We're going to go through. It's going to be in training next year. We're going to go through each one of these items in much, much more detail. And then some. So if you check this, sewer use ordinance, I went to a good one. If your sewer use ordinance is this thick, it doesn't need to be in here. But what needs to be in here is that where is it located? Just where is it? Same thing with fat oil and grease control program. If that's a thick document, great. It could be somewhere else. You know where it is, or if it's just a few pages, you can put it in here. So that when Gary or David Girdman and they ask for the CMOM, in September of 2016, and they come and they'll say, can I see your CMOM program? Here it is. So it seems like, yes, it's this documentation, lots more paper. A lot of it can be on, if you want to do it on a computer, you can. If you want to do it in folders, you can. So whatever works for you. This is just one idea, and especially for the smaller communities. Now, is Oshkosh here? Oh, well, right in Fox River Valley. Here's Oshkosh's CMOM. Wow. Right? There's most of this, though. Most of this is appendices. I wouldn't, this is how they put it together, that's fine. I would have what, for the different sections, those documents, but however you want to do it. But anyway, and here's the CMOM, this is for Oshkosh, right here. So some communities already in this area are putting these together. I'll leave this up here if you want to leaf through it, at least see what the table of contents is. And actually, it's not too bad, it's pretty good. All I want to say on goals is they need to be measurable, and what I see a lot on this and in the CMAR is reduce I&I. That's the goal. Oh, that's great. Who doesn't want to reduce I&I? Or reduce basement backups. They need to be much more specific and measurable. And I think the term is you here have a metric, something that's measurable. Okay. And, I mean, don't put this in your goal, that you're going to keep it in the pipe. Next one. Or keep it in the pipe. I'm going to really zip through these. I want to get to one area. So I think you get the idea. What we are going to do this presentation, go ahead and click through these.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So when we do the training, we're going to go through these in much, much, much more detail. Every single one of these coming up.
I think the key point on this organization is you want to have one designated person to be kind of the CMOM go-to person in your organization.
But I noticed in looking at it, I mean, same thing with an organizational chart, or just who's who and who does what. If you have questions, and as you're working through this, give me a call or talk to who are working on it already. But the key here is that you can tell by just this. Like I said, don't wait till June 2016. You're just not going to get this done. Well, you might, but you're going to be up late. Okay, next one. Same thing with the legal authority. So all of these are in here, but we're really going to go through like a fat oil and grease control program and some ideas of what that is, implementing it, and etc. So we'll tackle these items one by one in not excruciating detail, but more detail to really get you going. Okay. I want this slide, I want to mention this, and one of these items is near and dear to Joan and I, and that's private laterals, but a really good O&M program, which is the heart of a CMOM program, is your main line, right, your manholes, your lift stations, and you can't forget the private laterals. So I know that's an area that can be somewhat politically difficult, but at some point communities are starting to move and work towards creative solutions and ways to address both the funding and how to deal with private laterals. And you've seen this before, same thing. The time to repair your roof is when the sun's shining, so it's not during that 7-inch, 6-inch rain. And you have 3 lift stations down and 10 manholes overflowing and 50 basement backups. These are all in your CMAR. I know I didn't change the...
Oh, that's better.
That's better. I had it in red, right?
Yeah.
Can everyone see this? I want to just bring this point up. Yeah, this is a good one, is that it's interesting reading some of these CMOMs that are coming in. And the only way you'll know the condition and do a condition assessment, the investigative piece of a CMOM program, one of the only ways is you got to televise it. You're not going to crawl in the pipe.